Hello everybody, this is Veli-Martin Kaitel in Tampere, Finland, March 2013. Welcome to listen to this presentation about a very interesting planetary alignment cycle from 1961 to this year 2013. This research very much supports the ideas in the Mayan Long Count calendar and other Mayan calendar concepts, and also supports the idea of entering heart-based consciousness in this time we are now living. This is a brief version of the study, so I'm going straight to the point without too much explanations. But if you get more interested to find out the details, the background of the research and how I came to these conclusions, you are welcome to see the full article in this address here. This information is very much based on a very special crop circle that appeared in Sant'Enna, Italy, on the 17th of June 2012. This is a very interesting crop circle because it clearly displays astronomical information, and this information gives us certain dates. So I'm here to present my conclusion of the dates and other information that comes from this very interesting crop circle. So we start with this picture of the star constellation of Cancer. In my view, this refers first to the date in August 1961. So we go back in time more than 50 years, when we had Sun and Mercury on both sides of the Cancer constellation. What we see here is also the orbit of Mercury around the Sun, which is off-centered, so that the Sun is not precisely in the middle of the orbit, which is very true in actual astronomical reality. And the orbit of Mercury goes counterclockwise. 3 orbits, 3 revolutions of Mercury take us to the date 5th of February in 1962, when we had a 6 celestial objects alignment with Earth, Moon, Mercury, Sun, Venus and Jupiter. And also, as the Moon was between Earth and Sun, this was a day of solar eclipse, a very rare planetary alignment. Next, we are gonna look at the part in the middle of the ellipse in the crop circle, where we clearly have a picture of the inner orbits of the inner planets in our solar system. We have Earth, Mercury, Venus and Mars, and this can be then taken to an astronomical software which are available online, and we can find out which date or dates match this particular setup of planets. Now, the best match, as other researchers have found out, is the 26th of April in 1962, so a little bit after the previous planetary alignment in February 62. So in this pattern we have Earth, Venus and Mars forming a triangle. Now, the most fascinating part of all this story is that this information in the crop circle also works beautifully when the crop circle is reversed as a mirror image. And in a way it works even better. Practically, in terms of the planetary positions in these orbits, it means that now we are looking at the solar system from the south side instead of the north side as we are used to do. So again, we look at the Cancer constellation, and we find the date 6th or possibly 7th of August in 2013, so this year. And again we have Sun and Mercury on both sides of the Cancer star constellation. And we look at the orbit of Mercury now clockwise, so it means backwards in time, and interestingly it is exactly one revolution of Mercury that takes us to this date that mostly interests us at this point, and this is the 10th of May this year, 2013. Again with a 6 planet alignment. This time included in the alignment we have Mars, Mercury, Sun, Moon, Earth, Saturn, and so again this is also the date of a partial solar eclipse, so it is the next solar eclipse we have this year. In the middle we have the planetary positions of Mars, Venus, Earth and Mercury around the Sun, and the best match is now the end date of the Mayan Long Count calendar, and this is, as most researchers find it, the 21st of December, the winter solstice date last year, 2012, which was considered a major shift point and misinterpreted by the popularistic media as a prediction for the end of the world. So we have the beautiful triangle again with Earth, Mars and Venus in a triangle, and Mercury neatly between Venus and Sun. And as we observe the position of Sun inside the orbit of Mercury, we find now that the match is perfect if we compare the actual astronomical picture and the picture in the crop circle. What was for me a confirmation that my interpretation is very likely correct here is that in the exact midpoint of these two dates in 1962 and 2012, we have another major planetary alignment with the inner planets, including the Moon, on 24th of August 1987. So this is exactly to the day in the middle of these other two dates. And it is marked in the crop circle with the row of 5 tiny circles. These rows of circles are attached to the ellipse shape. Also in 1987 August we had the Cancer pattern with the Sun and Mercury, and this time also the planet Venus in the very heart, in the very center of the Cancer constellation. So this setup reoccurs on many years in early August, but there are only a few years when it really matches the setup we have in the crop circle, and this is due to the irregular orbit of Mercury. These 3 dates in 1961, 1987 and 2013 I have found are indeed the best matches for the crop circle. Now we have a third date in 1987, again in August, and this is very important. It was the harmonic convergence, the first ever global peace meditation project organized on the 16th to 17th of August 1987 by Jose Arguelles and his friends, and this was based on information taken from the Mayan cycles, and also with the awareness of this major planetary alignment in August 1987. What was very essential for the Mayans, as they were tracking the cycles of the solar system, as they saw it was important to mankind, was the cycles of the three inner planets, Mars, Venus and Earth, and their relationships to each other. So seen from the Earth, it takes 584 days for Venus to return to its relative position compared to Earth. So this we can call a Venus cycle. And likewise, it takes 780 days for the planet Mars to return to its relative position. Now, the relationship of these two cycles is such that 3 Mars cycles and 4 Venus cycles are almost exactly the same length. There's only about a 4 days difference. And if we look at the 3 cycles of Mars duration, it is 2,340 days, which is about 6.4 years. So this is the time it takes for both Venus and Mars to return to their relative positions as seen from our planet. If we take 2 of these cycles, which I call here Mars-Venus rounds, it takes 4,680 days. This equals 18 Mayan Tzolk'in counts. Tzolk'in is the sacred astrological calendar of the Mayans, which is still today followed by many people around the world. 260 days is made of 13 times 20 different astrological day signs. And then it also matches 13 Tun cycles, and Tun is the very basic building block of the Mayan Long Count calendar cycles. So 2 of these very important Mayan time cycles come to synchrony during this 2 Mars-Venus rounds, 4,680 days, which is actually 13 times 18 times 20, these numbers being the most important components of the entire Mayan calendar system. So we return to the crop circle and start putting all these pieces we've discovered so far together. We start now with the mirror image of the crop circle and the February 62 alignment in the beginning, and as we look at the crop circle this way round, we can make an interesting discovery that the line that follows these 5 little circles, it continues and points exactly to Earth in the inner planet's pattern inside the ellipse. And in the actual astronomical alignment, the way we see it with our astronomical software, Earth indeed is in the top of this alignment. So we have 6 objects in a row as we are supposed to have. Then what follows are 7 alignments of all the inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth and the Mars with the Sun, with these 6.4 years intervals. So this was the 2 Venus-Mars rounds. And these occurred in 1968, 1974, 1981, 87 with the harmonic convergence in the middle, 94, 2000, 2006, and again after 6.4 years we have the planetary alignment that completes this whole sequence, and this is the interesting date, 10th of May 2013. Altogether we have here 9 planetary alignments, and at both ends we have other planets than just the inner planets, and in the 7 other alignments we have all the inner planets with the Sun. This is why we have 5 dots attached to each other, extruding from the ellipse. If we look at the duration between the beginning and end point of these planetary alignments, we have exactly 8 Mars-Venus rounds, which makes 52 tuns or 72 Zolkins. And because the Mayan Long Count calendar lasts 5,200 tuns, this cycle here is exactly 1% of the long count. The long count in years lasts 5,125 years because the tun is slightly shorter than the solar year. And now the beginning and end date of the Cancer constellation pattern is exactly 52 years, or halves as the Mayans called the solar year. And this is just 1 Zolkin, and exactly 1 Zolkin longer than the previous cycle we observed. So this synchronizes the 2 important Mayan periods of Hab and the Zolkin, and was or is today known as the Mayan calendar round, a very important cycle for the ancient Mayans. Always after 52 years there was a big celebration, and at the age of 52 a Mayan became an elder of the tribe. And in my opinion now, it seems that these 52 years from 1961 to 2013 is the kind of a maturing time for mankind to become an elder, a kind of a birth, growth, maturing process of a new consciousness, starting from the early 1960s with the emergence of the hippies, peace, love movement, protesting against war, and coming to the space age with the early satellites and the Apollo missions, and the beginning of a global communications, awareness of our connections to each other, and leading up throughout the decades of the later 20th century towards the beginning of the 21st century and the beginning of a new cycle of human consciousness. I'm going to make a brief introduction to the Tree of Life philosophy, which is partly based on the information in the Jewish Kabbalistic tradition, but also on the most of the indigenous creation mythologies and early cosmologies, which included the idea of a tree of life or a world tree. In my view, the original intact tree of life was made of 7 components, beginning with the 3 components above, and then reflecting through the central element to the 3 lower elements. And in this structure we can, for example, see the Holy Trinity, which here is seen as the blue spheres, and the 4 earthly elements below the Trinity, and each of these 7 elements having their own archetypical energies and implications. This is also where we can find the idea of 7 days and 6 nights, because we have 7 circles or apples, whatever we call them, and 6 spaces between them. So it matches the idea in the biblical story of creation, where the world was created in 7 days and 6 nights, and these together make the 13 heavens, 13 creation cycles of the early Mesoamerican Indians. What is an essential part of the Tree of Life story is that it was broken in the middle. In the biblical story, we know this from the Genesis. It says that there was the Tree of Life in the middle of the paradise of Eden, where Adam and Eve lived together in harmony. But as they ate the forbidden apple, the world was kind of split into 2 polarities, which in terms of the apple can be seen as the good apple or the God apple, and then the lower half, the bad apple. In Christian terms, this is considered the time of the primordial sin, entering the time of sexual tension, sexual difference between man and woman, and also the battle between heaven and earth, and the battle between good and evil. Here we have an animation that shows the birth structure of the Tree of Life, beginning from 1 element, dividing into 3, and then reflecting through the center into a lower structure of 4 elements. Originally in the tree we have 7 elements, but as it is split in the middle, we have 8 elements, 4 above and 4 below. And then we have a fracture, a gap between these 2, and we have entered an experience of the 4 elements and lost our connection to the Trinity, which stands for the spiritual aspect of our being. Now, what is very, very interesting is that we see this structure of Tree of Life repeating in different levels of creation and in different time spans during the evolution of our universe, our solar system, our planet, and mankind. In the solar system, we can observe that we have 4 above the gas planets, which can be seen as heavenly or ethereal planets. And then 4 below the inner orbits, we have the 4 physical solid planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. And these are out of balance as a result of a major cataclysmic disaster that happened between these 2 levels, where there was originally a large celestial object that broke into pieces and left behind the asteroid belt, which now is a kind of a reminder of this destruction and the division between these 2 levels. The same again has repeated in the case of planet Earth, where we have the Tree of Life structure, the ethereal or spiritual Earth, separated from the physical Earth, which is very much a world and experience of 4 elements, as described by all of the indigenous cultures. And also today we see the world as a place of 4 directions. And there's a gap between the physical and spiritual experience of people on the earth. And then the same structure can be discovered in the human energy body, which according to the Eastern tradition is divided into 7 main energy centers or chakras, and if we see the heart as divided into the masculine and feminine heart, we see 8 chakras instead of 7, with the 4 above as the ethereal chakras or spiritual chakras, and the 4 lower chakras as the energy centers that are mostly responsible for the physical aspects of the human behavior and the human body. And the heart is fractured as a result of the splitting of the individual tree of life. So we can now start putting these things together, and we can think that the rebalancing of the inner planets between 1961 and 2013 corresponds to the rebalancing of the physical Earth and reconnecting with the spiritual Earth. The rebalancing of the lower chakras reconnecting with the upper chakras, and thus healing the fracture in the heart, and thus enabling us to enter what is commonly called the heart-based consciousness, heart consciousness, or Christ consciousness. Finally, we return to see the amazing symmetry in this planetary events of the past 52 years. So, in the beginning, August 61, as seen from the Earth, we can see that there are Mars and Venus on both sides of the Sun, and equally in 2013 August, Venus and Mars, but reversed as a mirror image, pretty exactly. And with the other 2 dates, the alignments in 62 and 2013, we have a similar mirror set up, and very precisely so that the orientation of the planetary alignment is mirrored, and also that the planets that are included in this alignment are reversed. So in the first alignment we have, in addition to Earth and Mercury, Venus and Jupiter, whereas Mars and Saturn are excluded. And in the 2013 10th of May alignment, we have Mars and Saturn included and Venus and Jupiter excluded. And furthermore, if we again look at the 62 alignment, we see that Saturn, Mars and Sun are aligned, whereas in 2013 Jupiter, Venus and Sun are aligned, and on the opposite side of the other planetary alignment. So the reflection symmetry, it is amazing, and it is part of a large structure that as a whole is really symmetrical and balanced. Then we have the 2 dates that come out of the inner planets pattern in the middle of the crop circle. So on the 26th of April 1962 we had Mars, Venus and Earth making a triangle with Jupiter in a certain direction as seen from the Earth. And on the 21st of December, the end date of the Mayan Long Count calendar, we have the exact inner planets pattern mirrored precisely, and Saturn exactly in the same direction where Jupiter was in the other date. Now we sum up what we have discovered in a very brief, condensed way. 21st December 2012 is a mirror pair for 26th of April 1962. Between these 2 dates there was a rare sequence of inner planets alignments, 7 of them. In these two dates Mars and Venus swap places symmetrically. Jupiter and Saturn swap places symmetrically. On both dates, Earth, Venus and Mars make a regular triangle in space. And in 2012, at the time of this triangle formation, Sun was aligned with the galactic center on the winter solstice day, an event that occurs during a few decades, but only with 26,000 years intervals. And on both sides of these dates and the 7 inner planets alignments, there were other planetary alignments with solar eclipses, and these alignments synchronizing the most important Mayan cycles, the Tzolk'in, the Tun and the Hab. What remains now is the last planetary alignment in this cycle, and it is indeed last. The cycle breaks, and from now on the inner planets alignments become irregular and separated with much larger periods of time. We have the 10th of May 2013 alignment and solar eclipse. And finally, according to the crop circle, the cycle ends in the beginning of August 2013, when Sun is in Cancer and Venus and Mars on both sides of Cancer. And once again, the address of the website where you can find many more bits of information about this research. I thank you for listening for this presentation. I'm welcoming comments and observations, and I hope together we match up with these celestial events and begin to create a world where we live from our hearts in peace and harmony with our nature and our planet. Thank you.